Admiral Park Jin stood on the bridge of New Seoul, watching as 4 planet ships moved into their new positions around human space. Each massive vessel was now stationed at a key border point, serving as both guardian and warning to the galaxy. The age of human weakness was truly over. New Seoul guarded the main trade routes. New Busan protected the outer colonies. New Daegu watched over the core systems. New Incheon patrolled the frontier borders. Together they formed an invisible shield around human territory that no alien force dared to challenge. "Sir, incoming message from Earth," reported his communications officer. "It's from the Zenthari Empire. They want to discuss surrender terms." Park Jin smiled. 3 months ago, the Zenthari had been preparing to burn human worlds. Now they were begging for mercy. Put them through. The face that appeared on the screen was not General Nam Ki. The scarred warrior who had threatened human colonies had been replaced by a diplomat. The new Zenthari representative looked nervous and spoke in careful, respectful tones. "Admiral Park Jin, I bring greetings from the Zenthari High Council. We wish to formally surrender our territorial claims and request a peace treaty with humanity." "What terms do you offer?" Park Jin asked. The Zenthari diplomat swallowed hard. "Complete withdrawal from all disputed territories. Payment of war damages to affected human colonies. Recognition of human sovereignty over all claimed systems. We also offer tribute payments to ensure continued peace." Park Jin considered this. The once proud warrior race was offering to pay humanity for the privilege of not being destroyed. It was a complete reversal of everything the Zenthari had believed about strength and weakness. On Earth, diplomat Ku Ara was overwhelmed with meeting requests. Her office was flooded with messages from alien governments wanting to establish new relationships with humanity. Species that had ignored human diplomatic efforts for centuries now competed for her attention. The Corvan Republic had sent their highest-ranking diplomat, a being so important that he had never left his home system before. He sat across from Kuara in the Earth Government building, his blue skin pale with worry. "The Republic wishes to establish closer ties with humanity," he said carefully. "We recognize that our previous assessment of human capabilities was incomplete." Kuara kept her expression neutral. "The Corvan Republic called us technologically stagnant and militarily irrelevant. Why should we trust you now?" The alien diplomat fidgeted with all 6 hands. "We made an error in judgment. We wish to correct this mistake by offering full diplomatic recognition, trade agreements, and mutual defense treaties." "Mutual defense?" Kuara raised an eyebrow. "The Republic has 6 times as many worlds as humanity. What could we possibly need protection from?" The Corvan looked embarrassed. "There are rumors that other species are developing new weapons to counter your planet ships. The Republic would feel safer under human protection." This was the new reality. Alien races that had been galactic powers for thousands of years were now asking humanity for protection. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted completely. Captain Lee Jun was conducting training exercises near the Federation border when his sensors detected a massive alien fleet approaching. 200 ships from a dozen different species, all flying together under Federation flags. It was the largest combined fleet the Federation had ever assembled. "Sir, they're requesting permission to enter human space," his communications officer reported. Lee Jun frowned. This could be an attack force, but something felt wrong about it. The ships were flying in diplomatic formation, not battle array. "Patch me through to their commander." The alien who appeared on screen was from a species Lee Jun had never seen before. The being had golden skin and spoke in a melodic voice. "Human commander, I am Fleet Admiral Zen Kora of the Federation Combined Fleet. We come seeking an audience with your leaders. State your business." Lee Jun replied. "We wish to discuss Federation membership for humanity," the alien said. "The Council has voted to offer humanity a permanent seat on the Security Council, with full veto power over all Federation decisions." Lee Jun almost laughed. Yesterday, the Federation had abandoned humanity to alien aggression. Today, they were offering humanity control over their decisions. "I will relay your message to Earth." President Xin Wu listened to the Federation's offer in his office. Around him sat his top advisors, including Admiral Park Jin, who had returned to Earth for the important meeting. "They're offering us everything we wanted when we were weak," Xin Wu mused. "A Security Council seat, veto power, full recognition of our territorial claims. The question is, do we still want it?" Admiral Park Jin shook his head. The Federation showed their true nature when they abandoned us. Why should we trust them now that we're strong? Spy Master Yang Yu spoke up from his corner of the room. Our intelligence reports show that 17 minor species have applied to join the Human Protection Zone. They see us as more reliable protectors than the Federation. Xin Wu nodded. What about our construction projects? Dr. Moonho stepped forward. The elderly scientist had been working on humanity's next generation of weapons. The space station-sized ships are ahead of schedule. The first one, New Terra, will be operational within 6 months. It will be 10 times larger than our current planet ships. The room fell silent. Even the planet ships had shocked the galaxy. Weapons 10 times larger would redefine the meaning of military power. Sir, Diplomat Kuara said carefully, if we reveal ships that large, it might trigger a galactic arms race. Every species will try to build similar weapons. Xin Wu smiled. Let them try. It took us 50 years to build the planet ships, using ancient alien technology that no one else has found. Any species that wants to match us will need decades just to begin. 3 days later, President Xin Wu addressed the galaxy from the Federation Council chambers. But this time he was not speaking as a member requesting help. He was speaking as the leader of the galaxy's newest superpower. People of the galaxy, he began. 3 months ago, humanity was dismissed as weak and primitive. Our colonies were threatened. Our people were abandoned by those who claimed to be our allies. We have learned important lessons from this experience. The chamber was packed with delegates hanging on his every word. The Corvin representative sat in the front row, taking careful notes. Even the proud Zenthari had sent observers to hear what humanity would say. Humanity accepts the Federation's offer of Security Council membership. Xin Wu continued, but we do so with conditions. First, the Federation will protect all member species equally, regardless of their size or military power. Second, any species threatened with aggression may appeal directly to the Security Council. Third, the use of military force to settle territorial disputes is banned. The delegates murmured among themselves. These conditions would fundamentally change how the Federation operated. The major empires would no longer be able to bully smaller species. Furthermore, Xin Wu added, humanity is pleased to announce that our Human Protection Zone now includes 23 species. We will guarantee their security and territorial integrity. On the border patrol near Zenthari Space, Captain Song He received a priority message from Earth. New construction projects were beginning. Ships so large that they would dwarf even the planet ships. She looked out at the stars and wondered what the galaxy would look like in another 50 years. In the deep construction yards, work had already begun on New Terra. The massive space station ship would be humanity's crowning achievement. Its weapons could destroy entire solar systems. Its defenses could stop the combined fleets of every species in the galaxy. But perhaps more importantly, it would serve as a reminder to the galaxy of what patience and determination could accomplish. Humanity had been underestimated once. It would never happen again. A young alien child on a distant world looked up at the night sky and saw the running lights of New Sol passing overhead like a moving constellation. Her parent, a member of one of the species now under human protection, pointed up at the massive ship. That is why we are safe, the parent said. The humans taught the galaxy that strength comes not from size or numbers, but from patience, planning, and the will to protect what matters. The child nodded, not fully understanding but somehow sensing that the galaxy was different now. Better, perhaps. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human responsibility had begun. President Xin Wu sat at his desk on Earth, watching the emergency reports flood in from across the galaxy. Every alien government was demanding answers. How had humanity built planet-sized warships in secret? How many more did they have? Were the humans planning to attack? The president's communication device buzzed constantly. The Corvin Republic wanted an immediate meeting. The Zenthari Empire was requesting peace talks. 3 dozen smaller alien races were asking for protection from their larger neighbors. In one day, humanity had gone from being ignored to being the most important species in the galaxy. Sir, we have another priority message, said his aide. This one is from the Federation Council. They want you to address them immediately. Xin Wu smiled coldly. Yesterday, the Federation Council had voted to abandon human colonies. Today, they wanted to talk. He would talk to them, but not in the way they expected. On the Corvin Republic homeworld, Commander Rotavi was studying battle recordings of New Sol. The Corvan military had always considered themselves the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their blue-skinned race had conquered dozens of worlds with superior technology and tactics. Now they faced the terrible truth that they had been completely wrong about humanity. How did we miss this? Rotavi asked his team of analysts. A younger Corvan officer spoke up nervously. Sir, we believed humans were technologically primitive. Our spy networks focused on their known colonies and trade routes. We never looked for hidden construction projects. Rotavi studied the technical readings from New Sol's weapons. The energy output was beyond anything in Corvan science. The shields had absorbed attacks that should have cracked planets. The humans had not just built bigger weapons. They had built better weapons. Send a message to High Command, he ordered. Recommend immediate diplomatic contact with Earth. We need to know if they consider us enemies. In the hidden construction yards beyond Pluto, work was speeding up on 3 more planet ships. Captain Song Hee commanded New Busan, which was 90% complete. Her ship was even larger than New Sol with improved weapons and thicker armor. How long until we can deploy? She asked Dr. Park Mina, who had arrived to oversee the final construction phase. 2 weeks for New Busan, Park Mina replied. New Daegu and New Incheon will be ready within a month. Song Hee nodded. The aliens will not expect us to have more than 1 planet ship. When we reveal the others, it will cause another shock. Dr. Park Mina looked out at the massive construction facility. Even she was amazed at what humanity had accomplished. They had built 4 artificial worlds in complete secrecy. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering that combined human innovation with ancient alien technology. Spy Master Zhang Yu was in his underground facility on Earth, coordinating the information war. His agents across the galaxy were reporting the same thing everywhere. Alien governments were panicking. Military leaders were demanding new assessments of human capabilities. Diplomatic channels that had ignored humanity for decades were now desperately trying to make contact. The Corvan Republic has moved 50 warships to their border with human space, reported one of his agents. They claim it is for defense, but they are clearly afraid we might attack them. Zhang Yu smiled. Good. Fear will make them more reasonable. What about the smaller races? 12 minor species have sent unofficial messages requesting human protection. They are afraid that without Federation backing, the larger empires will absorb them. This was exactly what Zhang Yu had hoped for. The revelation of New Sol was changing the balance of power across the galaxy. Species that had been bullied by the major empires now saw humanity as a potential protector. The Federation Council meeting was unlike anything in galactic history. Representatives from hundreds of species packed the Great Chamber, all talking at once. The Corvan delegate who had dismissed humanity yesterday now looked nervous and kept glancing at the empty human seat. When President Xin Wu finally appeared on the communication screen, the chamber fell silent. The human leader looked calm and confident. Behind him they could see the Earth flag and symbols of human government. Fellow members of the Galactic Federation, Xin Wu began. Yesterday you voted to abandon human colonies to Zenthari aggression. You called our territorial dispute a minor matter. You refused to help defend millions of human lives. The Corvan representative tried to interrupt. President Xin Wu, we must discuss these new weapons of yours. The Federation needs to understand nothing. Xin Wu cut him off. For 200 years, humanity has been a loyal member of this organization. We paid our dues. We followed your laws. We asked for help only when we truly needed it. And when we needed you most, you abandoned us. Murmurs of unease swept through the chamber. The smaller species nodded in agreement. They had all been abandoned by the Federation at various times. Xin Wu continued. Humanity learned an important lesson yesterday. We learned that we can only depend on ourselves. We also learned that we are much stronger than anyone imagined. The chamber erupted in shouting. Delegates demanded to know how many planet ships humanity possessed. Others called for immediate inspections of human space. The Corvan representative was gesturing angrily with all 6 arms. Xin Wu waited for quiet, then spoke again. I have an announcement for the Federation. As of today, humanity is withdrawing from this organization. We will no longer pay Federation taxes. We will no longer follow Federation trade laws. We will no longer recognize Federation territorial agreements. The chamber exploded into chaos. Some delegates shouted in anger. Others looked terrified. The smaller species representatives seemed pleased. They had always resented paying taxes to support an organization that favored the major empires. Furthermore, Shinwu said, his voice cutting through the noise, humanity is establishing the Human Protection Zone. Any species that feels threatened by larger powers may request our protection. We will consider each request carefully. The president's image disappeared, leaving the Federation Council in complete disorder. In one speech, humanity had declared independence from the Galactic Order and offered to become a new protector for weaker species. On the border worlds, alien fleets were repositioning frantically. The Zenthari Empire had recalled all forces from human space and was building new defensive lines. They had learned that attacking humans was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Captain Song-hee received orders to take New Busan to the Zenthari border. Her planet ship would serve as a warning to any empire that still thought about attacking human colonies. Deploy us in full view of their sensor networks, came the orders from Admiral Kang Hyun. Let them see that New Seoul was not our only surprise. When New Busan arrived at the border system, Zenthari sensors detected it immediately. The alien military commanders who received the reports could barely believe them. The humans had a second planet ship, and this one was even larger than the first. Emergency messages flashed across Zenthari space. Military leaders who had planned new attacks on human territory now faced the reality that humanity could destroy their entire fleet with just one ship. The warrior race that had never known defeat was learning the meaning of fear. Commander Rotavi was studying the new intelligence reports when his aide brought him another shock. Long-range sensors had detected construction activity in the outer regions of human space. The energy signatures suggested at least 2 more planet ships under construction. How many do they have? He whispered. His aide looked pale. Sir, we have no idea. They hid this entire program for 50 years. There could be dozens of these weapons. Similar conversations were happening in government buildings across the galaxy. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive were now terrifying themselves with speculation about human military capabilities. If they could hide planet ships, what other weapons did they possess? The age of alien superiority was ending. Humanity had revealed that the weak could become strong through patience, planning, and determination. The galaxy would never be the same. Fleet Admiral Rix Vorthak stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human colonies grow larger on the main screen. The Zenthari commander was pleased. This would be an easy victory. His 200 warships against a handful of human defense boats. It was hardly even a battle. All ships report ready for attack, said his weapons officer. Vorthak nodded. Begin the assault. Target their defense stations first, then the cities. The Zenthari fleet spread out in attack formation. Each red warship bristled with weapons. Their plasma cannons could melt steel. Their missile launchers carried enough firepower to crack open mountains. They had used these same tactics to conquer dozens of worlds. On the planet New Hanyang, Governor Park Soo watched the enemy ships through his telescope. They looked like red stars moving across the black sky. Soon those stars would rain death on his world. All civilians to underground shelters, he ordered. Activate what few defense weapons we have. The colony's defense grid came online. A dozen missile platforms and some old laser cannons. Against 200 enemy warships, they were like stones thrown at a thunderstorm. But the colonists would not surrender without a fight. Captain Yoon Dae had retreated his small fleet to a safe distance, following his orders. Through his sensors, he watched the Zenthari ships prepare for bombardment. His heart was heavy. Soon the colonies he was supposed to protect would burn. Sir, should we attack anyway? Asked his weapons officer. Maybe we can damage a few enemy ships before they destroy us. Yoon Dae shook his head sadly. 30 ships against 200? We would die for nothing. All we can do is watch and remember, so we can tell others what happened here. But deep in space, something was about to happen that no one expected. Sensor operator Won Bin sat at his station aboard one of Captain Yoon Dae's ships. His job was to watch for enemy reinforcements. Instead, his sensors detected something impossible. A massive energy signature was approaching through hyperspace, something bigger than anything he had ever seen. Captain, Won Bin called out, his voice shaking. Sir, you need to see this. Yoon Dae rushed to the sensor station. What is it? Something huge is about to exit hyperspace near the battle zone, Won Bin said. The energy signature is off the scale. It's bigger than the entire Zenthari fleet combined. Before Yunde could respond, space itself began to tear open. Fleet Admiral Vorthak was about to give the order to fire when his sensor officer screamed. "Admiral?" Massive hyperspace breach detected. Something is coming through. Vorthak turned to look at the main screen. Space was twisting like water being stirred. Reality bent and cracked. Then something emerged that made his blood run cold. It was a planet. But planets did not move through space. Planets did not have engines. Planets did not bristle with weapons that could be seen from millions of kilometers away. New Sol hung in space like an impossible dream made real. Its surface was covered with cities of guns. Weapon platforms the size of mountains dotted its artificial continents. The great engines at its poles glowed like captured stars. "What is that thing?" Vorthak whispered. His communications officer was frantically trying to scan the massive object. "Admiral, the computer cannot classify it. It reads as an artificial construct, but the size, it's as large as a moon." Dr. Lim Yuna sat at the weapons control station deep inside New Sol. She had waited her entire life for this moment. Around her, hundreds of technicians prepared the planet ship's guns for battle. Each main weapon was larger than most alien cities. "All weapon systems online," she reported to Admiral Kang Hyun. "Ready to fire on your command." Kang Hyun stood in the command center, looking at the tactical display. The Zenthari fleet looked like insects compared to New Sol. 200 red dots facing a single, massive circle that represented humanity's secret. "Weapon, open a communication. Channel to the enemy fleet," he ordered. "Fleet." Admiral Vorthak jumped when his communication system activated. A human face appeared on his screen. An old human male with white hair and cold eyes. "I am Admiral Kang Hyun of the Terran Defense Force," the human said. "You have threatened human colonies. You have exactly 60 seconds to retreat from this system." Vorthak found his voice. "What is this trick? What is that construct?" "This is no trick," Kang Hyun replied. "This is New Sol, humanity's answer to bullies like you. You now have 50 seconds to retreat." Vorthak's pride would not let him run from humans, no matter how strange their weapon looked. "All ships, attack that thing. Concentrate all firepower on the enemy construct." The Zenthari fleet opened fire. 200 warships unleashed their weapons at once. Plasma beams, missiles, and energy cannons filled space with deadly light. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The attacks hit New Sol's shields and simply vanished. The ancient alien technology absorbed the enemy fire like a sponge absorbing water. Not even a scratch appeared on the planet ship's surface. "Impossible," Vorthak breathed. Captain Bei Sun commanded the small fleet that had escorted New Sol to battle. His ships were hidden behind the planet ship, protected by its massive bulk. He watched the enemy attack with satisfaction. "The shields are holding perfectly," he reported to Admiral Kang Hyun. "Enemy weapons are having no effect." Kang Hyun nodded. "It is time to show them what real firepower looks like. Dr. Lim, you may fire when ready." Dr. Lim Yuna smiled. Firing main battery. New Sol's weapons opened fire. The main guns were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Each shot contained more energy than most stars produced in a year. The beams of pure destruction reached out across space faster than thought. 30 Zenthari warships simply ceased to exist. They did not explode or burn. They were there one moment and gone the next, reduced to atoms by weapons that bent the laws of physics. Fleet Admiral Vorthak watched in horror as a third of his fleet vanished in seconds. "All ships, retreat. Retreat immediately." But New Sol was not finished. The secondary weapons began firing. Thousands of smaller guns that were each still larger than most alien weapons. Energy beams reached out like the fingers of an angry god. More Zenthari ships died. Some managed to explode before being completely destroyed. Others simply disappeared into clouds of glowing gas. The proud red fleet that had expected easy victory was being destroyed like children's toys. Captain Yunde watched from his safe distance, his mouth hanging open. Wanbin sat beside him, tears streaming down his face. "Sir," Wanbin whispered, "we did it. We actually did it." Across the galaxy, quantum communication networks carried the impossible news. Humanity had revealed a planet-sized warship. The weak, primitive humans had built something that made the greatest alien fleets look like insects. On the Corvin Republic homeworld, emergency sessions began immediately. Military leaders who had dismissed humanity as irrelevant now faced the terrifying truth. If humans could hide one such weapon, how many more did they have? The Zenthari Empire's capital received news of the defeat within hours. The proud warriors who thought conquest was their birthright now faced an enemy that could destroy their greatest fleets without effort. Fleet Admiral Vorthak managed to escape with only 40 ships. As his battered fleet limped away from the battle zone, he sent a desperate message to his home government. "The humans have a weapon beyond our understanding," he reported. "We cannot fight them with conventional forces. They have changed the rules of war itself." New Sol hung in space, its weapons powering down. The battle was over. Around the planet ship, the wreckage of alien ambition drifted like metal snow. Admiral Kang Hyun activated the ship-wide communication system. "Today, humanity has shown its true strength," he said. "Let the galaxy know that we are no longer the weak species they thought we were. We are patient, we are clever, and we are ready to protect ourselves from any threat. The age of human weakness was over." Captain Hyundai watched the enemy ships gather at the edge of human space. Through the window of his command ship, he could see the distant lights of 200 Zenthari warships. They hung in space like angry stars, waiting to attack the human colonies. The Zenthari were a warrior race. They loved conquest and saw peace as weakness. Their ships were painted blood red and covered with sharp spikes. Each ship carried enough weapons to destroy a city. Together, they could burn entire worlds. "Sir, we have a message from the Zenthari fleet," said his communications officer. Hyundai nodded. "Put it on screen." The face of General Nam Ki appeared on the main display. The Zenthari general was ugly even by alien standards. His face was covered with scars from old battles. His teeth were filed to sharp points. His eyes glowed red with battle fury. "Human captain," Nam Ki spoke in broken English, "you have 3 days to surrender all colonies in this sector. If you refuse, we will burn your worlds and take them anyway. Your Federation friends will not help you. They have already voted to abandon you." The transmission ended. Captain Hyundai stared at the blank screen. The general was right about the Federation. The Alien Council had met yesterday and decided that human colonies were not worth protecting. The great alien races saw humans as expendable. On Earth, Ambassador Osu was trying to buy time. She sat in the Federation Council chambers, surrounded by alien delegates who looked down on her with barely hidden contempt. The Corvin Republic representative was a tall being with blue skin and 6 arms. He spoke in the superior tone that all Corvins used with humans. "The territorial dispute between the Zenthari Empire and humanity is a minor border adjustment," the Corvin said. "The Federation does not involve itself in such small matters." Osu stood up. "Small matters? The Zenthari are threatening to destroy human colonies with millions of people. Then perhaps humans should not have built colonies so far from their home system," another alien delegate said. The chamber filled with the clicking sounds that aliens made when they were amused. Osu felt anger burn in her chest, but she kept her voice calm. "We ask for just 3 more days to evacuate our civilians." The Corvin representative waved one of his 6 hands dismissively. "The Federation has spoken. This matter is closed." In the deep cold beyond Pluto, Admiral Kang Hyun received the message from Earth. The Federation had abandoned humanity, just as they had expected. The Zenthari would attack in 72 hours. It was time for New Sol to have its first battle. "Send the activation codes to Dr. Park Mina," Kang Hyun ordered. "Tell her to begin jump preparations." Dr. Park Mina was in the main engine room when the message arrived. Around her, the massive fusion core hummed with contained power. The jump engines were the size of buildings, filled with technology that could tear holes in space itself. "Beginning jump sequence," she announced to her team. "All hands to battle stations." The planet ship began to move. Engines larger than Earth's biggest cities roared to life. New Sol accelerated slowly at first, then faster, until it was moving through space like a bullet. The stealth field kept it invisible to alien sensors. Pilot Choi Oun was in her fighter cockpit, running final checks on her weapons. She was the best fighter pilot humanity had ever produced. Her small ship was equipped with the latest human technology, but she knew that even her skills might not be enough against 200 enemy warships. "All fighters ready for launch," she reported to Captain Lee Jun. Lee Jun nodded from the fighter control center. "Stay close to New Sol when we arrive. Let the big guns do the heavy work." The human colonies were preparing for the worst. On the planet New Hanyang, families packed their belongings and headed for evacuation ships. But many colonists refused to leave. They had built their homes with their own hands. They would not abandon them to alien invaders. Colony Governor Park Soo stood on the steps of the government building, addressing the crowd of people who had chosen to stay. "The Zenthari think we are weak," he said. "They think humans will run at the first sign of trouble. Today we show them that they are wrong." The crowd cheered, but Park Soo could see the fear in their eyes. They had nothing but small defense ships and personal weapons. Against the Zenthari fleet, it would be like fighting a wildfire with water buckets. Captain Yoon Dae received new orders from Earth Command. His small fleet was to retreat to the inner colonies. There was no point in fighting the Zenthari with conventional weapons. His 30 ships would be destroyed in minutes. "Sir, are we really going to run?" asked his weapons officer. Yoon Dae looked at the young man. "Sometimes retreat is the wisest choice, but I have a feeling this battle is not over yet." In space, the Zenthari fleet began moving toward the human colonies. General Nam Ki stood on his command bridge, dreaming of the easy victory ahead. His ships had won 100 battles against other alien races. Humans would be even easier to defeat. "How long until we reach their colonies?" he asked. 18 hours, General," replied his navigator. Nam Kai smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Prepare the orbital bombardment weapons. We will burn their cities from space and watch them beg for mercy." On New Seoul, Admiral Kang Hyun stood in the command center. The planet ship was moving through hyperspace, traveling faster than light toward the battle zone. Around him, thousands of crew members worked at their stations. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Jump completion in 6 hours," reported the navigation officer. Kang Hyun nodded. "Send a message to all department heads. Tell them to prepare for combat operations." Dr. Park Mina checked the weapon systems one final time. The planet ship carried enough firepower to level continents. Each of its main guns was larger than most alien warships. The secondary weapons could destroy entire squadrons with single shots. "All weapons show green status," she reported. "We are ready for battle." Commander Kim Hana monitored alien communications from her intelligence center. The Zenthari were confident of victory. Their messages spoke of easy conquest and quick profit. They had no idea what was coming. "The enemy expects no resistance," she told Admiral Kang Hyun. "They think this will be a simple raid." Kang Hyun smiled coldly. "They are about to learn that humans are full of surprises." As New Seoul raced through hyperspace, the galaxy held its breath. In a few hours, everything would change. The aliens who saw humans as weak primitives were about to face something they had never imagined. Humanity's patience was about to pay off in the most dramatic way possible. Admiral Kang Hyun stood at the observation deck, looking out at something that should not exist. Before him stretched a metal surface so vast that it curved beyond the horizon like a planet. But this was no natural world. This was New Seoul, humanity's greatest secret. The construction facility floated in the cold darkness beyond Pluto, hidden in the Oort cloud where no alien ship had ever traveled. For 50 years, human engineers had worked in complete silence, building something the galaxy had never seen. They called it a planet ship. Kang Hyun was old now. His hair had turned white during the decades of this project. He had been a young captain when they first found the ancient wreck drifting in deep space. The alien ship was older than human civilization, its builders long dead. But inside that dead hull, they found technology that changed everything. Dr. Park Mina walked up beside him. She was the chief engineer, the woman who had figured out how to make the impossible real. Her hands were stained with grease and metal dust as always. "The core is ready," she said quietly. "We can bring it online today." Kang Hyun nodded. Today would mark the end of the longest military project in human history. Today, New Seoul would truly come alive. The planet ship was massive beyond imagination. It was as large as Earth's moon, but it was entirely artificial. Weapons covered its surface like cities. Engines the size of mountains could push it through space faster than any normal starship. Its shields could stop the combined firepower of 100 alien fleets. But the aliens did not know it existed. For 200 years, humanity had been part of the Galactic Federation. They were considered a minor species, barely worth notice. The great alien races like the Corvan Republic and the Zenthari Empire saw humans as primitives who had gotten lucky with faster-than-light travel. They were wrong. Captain Lee Jun was inspecting the fighter bays when the announcement came. He was young for his rank, only 35, but he had trained his whole life for this moment. His fighter squadron would be the first to launch from New Seoul when the time came. The fighter bays were enormous caverns carved into the planet ship's surface. Each bay could hold 1,000 fighters. New Sol had 50 such bays. Lee Jun's pilots were the best humanity had ever trained, but even they felt small in these vast spaces. "All pilots to ready stations," came the voice over the communication system. "Core activation in 10 minutes. Lee Jun felt his heart beat faster. He had grown up hearing whispers about the secret project. His father had worked on the early construction teams. His mother had helped design the weapon systems. 3 generations of his family had devoted their lives to building New Sol. Commander Kim Hana was in the intelligence center, watching screens that showed alien activities across the galaxy. The aliens had spy networks, but they were focused on human colonies and trade routes. None of them suspected that humanity was building warships in the outer darkness. The latest reports made her smile coldly. The Corvan Republic had just published a military assessment calling humanity technologically stagnant and militarily irrelevant. The Zenthari Empire had begun massing fleets near human space, confident that no resistance was possible. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The intelligence center was buried deep in New Sol's core, protected by kilometers of armor and shielding. From here, Kim Hana could monitor every alien communication, every fleet movement, every diplomatic meeting. The aliens thought they were the only ones with advanced surveillance technology. They were wrong about that too. Dr. Park Mina stood before the main control panel in the engine room. The room was the size of a cathedral, filled with machinery that hummed with barely contained power. At its center was the fusion core, a sphere of contained starfire that would give New Sol the power of a small sun. Around her, hundreds of engineers waited at their stations. These people had spent decades learning to operate technology that was half human engineering and half ancient alien science. The original alien wreck had taught them about gravity manipulation, energy projection, and space-time distortion. Humans had added their own innovations in manufacturing, materials science, and weapons design. The result was New Sol, a fusion of the best of both civilizations. Initiating core startup sequence, Park Mina announced. Deep in the planet ship's heart, the fusion core began to glow. Energy flowed through massive conduits, powering systems that had waited 50 years to come online. The artificial gravity stabilized. The shields powered up, creating an invisible barrier that could stop asteroids or enemy missiles. The weapon systems came online, each one capable of destroying a normal warship with a single shot. On the observation deck, Admiral Kang Hyun watched as New Sol truly awakened. Running lights appeared across its surface like cities being born. The great engines began their deep thrumming song. Scanner arrays unfolded like metal flowers, reaching out to touch the minds of distant stars. But the most important system was the stealth field. Ancient alien technology hid New Sol's massive gravitational signature, making it invisible to long-range sensors. To any alien scanner, this region of space would appear empty except for a few scattered asteroids. Captain Lee Jun felt the vibration through the deck plates as New Sol's systems came fully online. In the fighter bay, his pilots cheered. They had trained in simulators for years, but this was real. Their planet-sized carrier was alive and ready for war. Commander Kim Hana smiled as her screens showed alien fleets continuing their normal activities. None of them had detected the power-up sequence. The stealth systems were working perfectly. Humanity's greatest weapon remained invisible. Dr. Park Mina wiped sweat from her forehead as the core stabilized at full power. Around her, the engineers were celebrating quietly. They had done the impossible. They had built a planet that could fly through space and fight battles. Admiral Kang Hyun activated the ship-wide communication system. His voice echoed through every corridor and chamber of the massive vessel. "Citizens of New Sol," he said, "today we have achieved what our species has worked toward for 50 years. We have created a weapon that can protect humanity from any threat. But we have also created something more. We have proven that humans can accomplish anything if we work together with patience and determination." He paused, looking out at the stars that held so many alien civilizations. "The galaxy sees us as weak and primitive. They are about to learn the truth. Humanity is patient. Humanity is clever, and humanity has been preparing for this moment since the day we first left Earth." In the depths of space, New Sol hung like a sleeping giant. waiting for its first battle.